It is true that death is inevitable, but some people die physically. Even though they die physically, their memories still linger on. And that's why we're holding this special session in honor of late Theo Adebowale, a man of repute. He was a scholar in his lifetime. He was a political scientist, and of course, a father to many of us. We'll be discussing about him today. Even though he's not here with us, we still feel him right here with us because his imprints will continue remaining in our memories. My name is Olabisi, Olaniyi, Oluwasegun. For those who listen and follow this program closely, you will realize that Dr. Theo Adebowale in his lifetime was a regular on the program and many of our other current affairs programs on Adaba 8.9 FM. May God rest his soul. All right, in the studios today, I have a lot of people from his circle who will be discussing about his person, their memories of him, and of course, we'll talk about some of the legacies he left behind. His son is right here with us, Mr. Mayowa Adebowale. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, madam.
We also have Professor Temidayo. His classmate is also from Adashi University, Akungba. Thank you for coming on the program. Okay, Professor Ogunbadewa Yemi is here from Adashi University, Akungba. Thank you for coming. Where are you from, Prof?
I'm from Ibadan.
From Ibadan. Okay, his classmate from Ibadan. Mr. Rosimi Ogunleye.
Yes.
Also a friend of the house.
Yes. Dr. Theo was, he taught us activism.
We'll get to all of that. First, let's start with his classmate who started his early days with late Adebowale. All right, so we'll also have Mr. Temidayo, head of news, current affairs programs in Adaba FM, join us in today's session. I wouldn't want to call it a discussion. It is a special session in honor of late Adebowale. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Temidayo.
Yeah, Mr. Good morning.
Okay, so quickly, Professor Temidayo, when you first heard about the demise of late Theo Adebowale, how did you feel?
Very bad. Very, very bad. Because we always talk twice or three times a day. I spoke to him on the 25th, and I told him, the way you are, what's wrong with you? He says, okay. The following day, which was 26th, I called, as usually. The first time, nobody picked up. The second, the third, his son picked up, Maiwa. Where is your dad? He said, it's Maiwa. He said, my dad had just passed away. I could not believe. After a while, I called back again. He said, my daddy had just passed away. It was then I knew it's not a dream. It's a big loss. To me personally, to the family, to the society, and to the nation.
Yes, today, although we're all pained by his demise, but we would love to talk in glowing terms because, like I said in the introductory part, it left a lot of legacies. I read a lot of write-ups from different people, most especially his students while he was in active service, who spoke really well about him. So we want to deliberate more, or dwell more rather, on those beautiful attributes of his. Now, as his classmates, what would you say made Mr. Theo Adebowale stand out amongst your other friends?
Yes, lots. Theo read class 1, but he didn't pass through class 2. He got the promotion from 1, class 1 to class 3. There I met him, 1972. And thereafter, the relationship kept growing. He got to class 3, leading again. You understand? Till we finish, he's so popular in Oyosun because he's a member of many society, but literary and debating society gave him more fame. Thereafter, I think there is nothing that happened to him in his family. When he got wedded, I was there. When he had his first son, I was there. And when my father died, he followed me down to my village, But we lost contact when I traveled out of the country. And I came back a week after. I got him through Facebook till now.
Okay, before I ask my questions from his son, Mr. Rotimi Ogunleye, his death came as a road shock, obviously. But what would you remember of him, even though he's no more here with us?
I remember him for his still courage. He's a courageous teacher. He would teach us to dare anything that will know that portends danger to society. He can see far ahead. He would tell us that if there is anything that we know could constitute danger to all of us in the future, we should rise against it stoutly too. He was never a coward. He was somebody that would speak his mind, even to the authority. He never liked to massage the ego of people in high places. Theocracy will say it the way it is.
Theocracy, as it's fondly called.
Oh, yes. We have met at different levels, at school, activism, even as a renowned intellectual in a particular sector of politics. We have met at different levels. And when it gets to talking about real issues, he will lay it bare. If you are digressing from it, he will let you know that this is not the original plan and I'm walking away. He will never hide this feeling.
I'm sure Mr. Ademeji would also want to join us in this discussion. Ademeji, how would you describe Mr. Theo Adebowale?
BC, well, let me first say Dr. Funsho Dari is here. He came in late. He just came in now. Maybe we won't say one or two things because I knew him as a kid. You know, growing up in Ado Ekiti, my parents were not lettered. You know, they were illiterate, and you know, going to a school like Anglican High School. And then I met his first son, that's Somi. Somi and I were friends at the time. And, you know, that time, Somi would come to school. They had 2 cars at the time. Mayor can testify to what I'm saying now. Mayor will remember that Volvo and a Volkswagen. I think it was blue in color, Mayor. So Somi will bring those cars to school. I think we were in SS1 or JSS3 at the time. So you can imagine a secondary school student bringing cars to school at the time. And I remember that it became an issue at that time. You know, teachers were against that. The school authority were also against that. They didn't like that. So at some point they said you should stop bringing those cars to school. And I remember Mr. Theo Adebowale coming to school. We knew him as Theocracy at the time. I remember him coming to our school then, Anglican High School, Adeba, Adekiti, and he took on the school authority and he said, show me where it is against the law that secondary school students cannot bring cars to school. And of course, as you know, in developed places like the US, secondary school is known as high school there. You will see high school students bringing cars to school. So, but then at that time, I think only the principal had a car. And then some of our teachers were even coming to school with bicycles, BMX bicycle. So you would wonder how those teachers will feel, you know, seeing a secondary school student, somebody in JSS3 or SS1 at the time, coming to school. So we will go in that car, go out of school, the blue Volvo, then the Volkswagen will drive around town and do whatever we like, you know, and he was so free with us. We'll go to their house. He was so free with everybody, and he never looked down on anybody. And then you could imagine how I felt, you know, when I got on radio and I came to Akure. You know, I started from Radio Nigeria and I came to Akure and I started interviewing him. This was a man I looked up to. This was a man that I saw. How would I put it now? The kind of awe I felt for him, you know, as a secondary school boy, and then now sitting down as a moderator asking questions on radio, it was out of this world. It was a feeling that was out of this world.
Yes, I must say that you told us that story one or twice before, and well, as a moderator myself, I used to tell people that I knew Daddy, like I usually call him, Mr. Theo Adebowale, was more like a father figure to me. Even if you called him 11 p.m. the previous night, night before the program, he was always willing to come.
Yeah, that's it.
Even in his last days, he would always say, "BC, I'll be there." It no matter what you tell him, even if you were trying to make excuses for him, he would say he was a gallant soldier.
He was.
Even when he was ill, obviously, even when he was not feeling fine, I would tell you, I'm not feeling fine, but I will still come.
Yes, that was it.
That was him for you. All right, now let's turn to Maiwa Adebowale. Daddy is no more, but he's still here with us. His memories of him, what would that be? His memory of him for you, what would that be?
Well, his memories in me, there is so much to say about him, but I would just simply say he was the best father, was an embodiment of good nature. He had listening ears. He wanted to know what was troubling you. He wanted to find a solution to problems facing individuals, problems facing the society at large. He believed in a society where things worked, and he wanted to pursue that. And those are what created conflicts and all through his lifetime. But we thank God for a life well spent.
A life well spent. All right, now let's talk about his sojourn in the world of academics. And that's where Professor Fadayini, who works in the same institution as he did, would come in. It was fondly called theocracy, not just for fun, but because it was firm in his belief, and he would always stand by whatever he believed in. I read a sort of biography of his, or a write-up by somebody online, and I saw a lot of things, a lot of revelations I never knew about. In few words, how would you describe his life as an academician?
Well, I think we have to take some digression because I have to minus the academic life, the social life, and somebody who has helped me a lot, and somebody that you can confide in. Anything you tell him, you will not hear it from another place. But before we start this discussion on academic, his academic legacies and so on. Well, the first one I will say is the relocation of the university from Ado-Ekiti to this place. You know, initially the name was Ondo State University. Then, when the Adefarachi was the governor, then they went to him that it's not creating a new university, it should be a relocation, because Ondo State University cannot be in Ekiti State. So, and it was in the forefront to see that the university was relocated to this place. And now, when you talk about the academic qualities and so on, if it's somebody that doesn't have the academic quality or prowess and so on, he would not have made the move to bring Akumba to this place. And luckily now, both non-academic and academic people, they are enjoying the benefit. And I personally, we are from the same town, which is Owo. And then we have two things in common. First, I cannot speak the Owo dialect. He cannot speak it. So, but when we met at Ado then, they say he's from Owo. Then I went to him, but what I expected before, maybe we speak Owo dialect to me, but he speaks Yoruba to me. I said, well, I just let. Then later he will be coming to my office. And unfortunately then, I've not been paid for about 3 months. Then, but since he have been in the system, he knows how things go. He just tell me, say, have you been paid? I said, no. And my salary that time was 4,000 naira. And if somebody is earning 4,000 naira and somebody give you 500, that you should take this one and be managing with it. Then had it been that I've known him before, I could have packed to his house. But for that, I think it should be commended. I will commend him for that, and so on. Then again, when we left Ado-Ekiti to Ondo State, there are no houses in Akungba, befitting houses, as I will say. He went to Adefayati then, that people will go because we had to leave, and so on. Then Ikare was there, but that time there's no Okada. So when you have where you have good houses in Ikare, it is very far inside. So he said that this thing. So first of all, some of us then, they say, well, if told Adefayati that okay, we want to pack our load. Well, it was graduated though, but me then, I was given 70,000 to just pack my load, which is only handbag from Ado-Ekiti. Then again, the issue of no accommodation and so on. The Adefayati, they were giving, everybody was giving 20,000 to purchase land in Akungba or maybe any nearby places. And again, the housing loan was also given to staff. Then on his academic achievement, I, as a person, I will say it's a maestro, because he was just like some of the lecturers that taught us in those days. First, some of them, they have first degree only, although they were professors then. And even when I went to the UK, there are some people even without PhD who are professors in the UK. So, but in our climb here, some of these things, then, some of the people who taught, because you can never fault him on his, he's a gifted teacher. Because he will teach you very well, and when he's saying this thing, some of it offered, if you go and check any book, definitely is exactly.
Now, talking about his prowess in the area of teaching, which was his profession before his demise, Dr. Fonshodare is here, and I've been alluding to a particular write-up that I saw online by an author. I think I'd like to give him credit for that at the end of the program, because I'd like to take an excerpt from that particular write-up now. It says Mr. Theo Adebowale was a towering intellectual figure in the department where he lectured. An uncompromising academic, he had a large student following, which informed being nicknamed Theocracy, which is a derivation of the shortened form of his first name, corresponding to a form of government, which he may have explained to students countless times. An erudite scholar, and so on and so on. He had a cold exterior and a no-nonsense mien. However, beneath the still appearance lurked a very brilliant and humane mind. Okay, Dr. Fonshodare,
yes, sir.
I'm very sure you were close to him.
Very close.
When he was here with us.
Yes.
How would you describe him?
Wow, that's a bit difficult.
I don't know that.
Because actually, I've known him for over 34 years now.
Wow.
I guess I was in either 300 level thereabouts in Ado when he joined the system. And immediately you start hearing theocracy. His classes were always jam-packed. Not only for a students of physics, maths, they want to listen to this fiery lecturer. He was just, he was a bold, fearless tutor. he says whatever is right, no matter who else was God. He doesn't mince words. And he was a very straightforward person. Transparently honest. At any point in time, you know the direction he was following, the direction he was going, even politically. So he's not the type of person that would meander or whatever. You know him. He's just straightforward, very kind and generous to a fault. Very accommodating. His students, they are always welcomed in his house, either 11 p.m., 12 p.m. And you would always, his acronym back then in Adoekiti was Theocracy. When we moved to Akungba, it now became Kabiesi. So whether you say Kabiesi or Theocracy, you are still referring to the same
even at some point, I read from that write-up that he wanted him to be called Uncle, just Uncle.
Yes, that was. He just preferred a simple life. A very brilliant tutor, and I love his mastery of English language. He never shy away from teaching and correcting people. I want to make one instance. Once we were discussing among lecturers, and one of the lecturers wanted to refer to the administrative head of a school. And the man said, the vice chancellor. Then Uncle Theo just paused. He said, can you spell that chancellor? And the man said, C-H-A-N-C. He said, stop there. Is that council or chance? Is it vice chancellor or vice chancellor? So the message was just taken there. So that is the kind of person that we've lost. So for me, like I always say, it's a personal loss, because it was my very close confidant, irrespective of the fact that the age difference between us and all that. It's a pity it's gone.
Okay. Now, go ahead, please, Professor.
Yes. I just want to add other things. Well, apart from the brilliancy, which some people may be jealous of him and so on, again, he likes to speak the truth to power. Because any government in power, immediately the government is not doing what he promised people, then he would like to talk to the government face to face. He's very bold and very brave. Then again, in the Owo community, especially in that express, maybe some of the people may not know and so on. Before, when you are going to Ikare, that's a new expressway, or there are no houses there. When we came, which was 1999, it was the one that first started building in that place. And immediately it came there, you will see from Ikare Junction in Owo, you will now see this. Even the local government doesn't have the gate there at that time. They have their gate at the old road. So because of that, we should give him a credit for that. Then again, somebody who is ready to help you when you are in need. Then anybody like that died, then definitely people will miss him so much. Because
all right, I would like to try as much as possible. Let's quickly hear his voice on one of some of the programs he featured in, and his disposition about some topical issues in just a few minutes. I'd like to play that now, and we'll be back to continue the conversation.
The larger majority will be at their beck and call, such that at every approaching election, they could pile up 500 naira, 1,000 naira, 2,000 naira to distribute to the hungry people.
That was the voice. Oh, that's the voice of Mr. Theo Adebowale. Quickly,
You say they are ready to collect and make Ila Lasebo and the
Boko Sebe.
Yeah, the Boko Sebe, and wait in hunger and starvation for the next 4 years.
Yes.
So unless we are able to determine as a people to start to allow our suffering to go a little further, so that we can defeat them at one point and build upon that, they will continue to take advantage and wouldn't be able to draw from the benefits of June 12, 1993. And it will be very unfortunate for the Nigerian political system. It is not only that. You also have the ethnic hegemonists. People who believe that they should play up certain
okay, that's a very short excerpt from some of the discussions we had in past times with Dr. Theo Adebowale. Somebody is here to represent some of the students that went through his tutelage. Thank you for joining the discussion. Would you quickly introduce yourself?
My name is Muyiwa Cole.
Muyiwa Cole.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
yes, we've been saying some of the attributes of Dr. Theo Adebowale. Even though he's no more here with us, his memories still linger on. As one of his students, how would you describe the late Adebowale?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Dr. Theo Adebowale was a fortunate man, very brilliant and intelligent. And because of his erudition and conviction of his ideology, that was why you find out a situation where 30 years after most of his students have left the university, they still have connection with him directly. And because just like Dr. Funshodare says, apart from his normal department, political science, which we are, many people want to take elective from his courses. And you find the class jam-packed. But one thing that he's very friendly, apart from the fact that he was very friendly, he was also very stern and very forthright. He will call you when necessary. He will admonish you, but he will call you silently and encourage you and support you. He will also encourage you to participate in all activities that could ensure that power gets to the masses. So that was the kind of person he is. Even when he left Ado-Ekiti to Akungba, Adekunle University couldn't have been, it is arguably that it couldn't have been said that the university would have been existent if not for the singular effort that the university has to be relocated to Akungba. I mobilized the students and staff of Ondo State Extraction to achieve that feat. Even when they got there and they were facing one or two challenges, they would be in the front to intervene on their behalf, engage the government to make the place comfortable for all people that find a habitation in Adekunle University, Akungba Akoko. He will be remembered for his always wanting to intervene in the personal life of his student, no matter how long you have departed from him. He will seek for you, he will look for your number, he will call you. Is it well with you? Where are you now? Follow up your progress. Follow up your progress, wants to know what you are doing. At chance, he wants you to come to him so that he will give you counsel. Very godly man. And his political activity, that's why he created 2 organizations, Good Governance Monitor, where he encouraged his students and colleagues to participate in partisan activities so as to enrich the good governance in the states and in Nigeria. He also established Democracy Network for Development, DEMNET. And in less than 1 year after the formation of DEMNET, it was a serious political association in Nigeria. And 2 years after the formation of DEMNET, it was a serious political association in Nigeria. And 3 years after the formation of DEMNET, it was a serious political association in Nigeria. And 4 years after the formation of DEMNET, it was a serious political association in Nigeria. And Those are his activities, and you find him at every political dispensation in the state or in the country. He will make his voice known. He will never shy about his own position. Very courageous. It doesn't matter who hosts God. He will say his own, and he will find relevance in whatever direction is given. Even though when he's not being reckoned with, you will discover that most of his thought, most of his advice and suggestion, power that be will go back and adopt whatever his positions are. And he will be sorely missed by everybody.
I'm sure his son, who is right here with us, will be really proud of the kind of dad he's been able to be opportune, the privilege to have. A lot of people are saying good things about your dad, and I'm sure that makes you feel really good, even though he's no more here with us. As a presenter, I said earlier that Mr. Theo Adebowale was not just generous with his resources, he was also very, very generous with his time. The only time I think he turned me down on the program was when he was very, very unwell. He was really unwell at that point, and he said he was on drugs. And he went as far as helping me get 2 other people from the same institution, because he couldn't show up physically. He still went ahead to help me with contacts of people who would, be equally useful for me on the program. That was a kind of person. The little I know about him is what I am saying, and from what everyone here has said, Mr. Aritime Ogunleye, we're gradually winding up.
Yes, thank you very much. If you look at what Professor Funjo said, he said when he was in Usua, he was too crazy. When he moved or migrated to AUA, he became Kabisi. It means that when he was alive, there was a concept of academics and human and social relationship between him and his student and his colleagues that generated a kind of concept and philosophy of his person that led to that coinage. When you see any member of academics handling such academic or educational coinage that is peculiar to him alone, it means that you need to check that person. He is an embodiment of academics, brilliance, and social network. That was exactly what Dr. Theo Adebowale represented.
Okay, he is no more here with us. I'm sure that's a loss to the family, not just to the family, to the state at large, and to the academic world. What do you think should be the next step now that Mr. Theo Adebowale is no more here with us?
Yes, the next step should be what we have started doing. Every one of us that met him in the university, outside the university, political settings, social platform, we have come together and we are participating in his passage, final prayer, giving him a beating prayer. After that, we will not allow what he taught us, what we all learned from him. We won't just allow it to pass on with him just like that. Because the society dies the very moment you allow those good legacies to sleep on. We shouldn't allow those good legacies to just sleep like that. We must continue where he left. We must continue what he told us. We must continue with those lovely ideas that are basically meant to change the course of the society from the present shenanigans that we have to that particular desired future that he wished for everybody. He wasn't a selfish person, so it was not expected that any one of us, when we get to position of opportunity tomorrow, we should be selfish. He was not myopic. He was not stereotype. He was not an idiot. An idiot.
And he was unassuming.
Yes, he was not. Unassuming. He was not. Somebody who will get to public office, who will have opportunity of building others, the next thing he will be thinking is his son, his daughter, his wife, his immediate younger brother. It was not that, because we were told that anybody that occupies public office as in sticking like that, narrowly, such a person at that is an idiot. So it was never one. He was a comrade in good standing, a teacher, a leader, a comforter, somebody that would lead and give you the way. He was always ready to talk to you. Call him 11, 12. Once he is aware that there is a problem to be solved, he will give you his time, analyze your problem, give you his own perception, and he went ahead to help you look for those solutions that he knew you may not be able to access. That was what he was to us. And to even code that was there, if you allow him to talk for the next 30 minutes, 1 hour, he will continue to talk non-stop. He can share his experience, personal experience with you about what he had been able to tap from him in person. That was what Dr. Theo was to us. Matthew and Co, Henry, all of our friends now will be listening to all of this. I know if they had the time to talk about him, you may please come to our night of tribute. You will hear more. What time on air will not permit us to say. You will hear a lot. That was who he was. He wasn't making it up. It was just his character content that was driving us. We'll miss him.
Those were his innate abilities, his innate attributes. Okay, Professor Ogunbadewa.
Yes.
Yemi. Now he's gone, but he has people he left behind. What would be your message to those he left behind?
Those he left behind, first I will want them to continue his legacies, and at the same time, the one that he cannot achieve, those people should try to go beyond that. So, but in general, I think it should not, the legacy should not be left to disappear. So that's what I will.
All right, Mr. Temidayo.
Yeah.
What will be your message to the family left behind?
Theophilus is an hero, and he will be remembered for many things. But personally, I think his legacy will continue. Should live after him.
Dr. Fashadare.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The late Uncle Theophilus Adebowale will be sorely missed. He was a highly detribalized person. I will miss so much about him. Personally, I will miss his counsel, his advice, his jokes, his companionship. Yeah, that will be sorely missed. And going forward, I foresee a foundation in his name that surely must come to play, and his legacies would remain on the sandprints of time. Yes, that's I'm sure of.
Okay, the other gentleman there, sorry.
Thank you very much. I think his legacy cannot die. I remember I was with him shortly towards the end of last year, and he said, let us review our socio-political activities for the years past, and why have we not been able to at least achieve significant success. We reviewed it, and at the end of the day, he concluded, I said, we need to change our tactics. I said, how will we lead the struggle? He said, don't worry. By the end of the year, I think I will be through. I will have full time for all this. I said, what do you mean? That was when he told me that he will be retiring from public service. And we're actually looking for a very robust engagement with the system when he just passed on, which is very, very sad and troubling. But just like what Dr. Dere has said, I think we are going to review all that and see how we are going to bring that his desire to change our tactics by engaging the system to bring forth a good system and a good governance. I think we are going to relax back to that and ensure that wherever he is, he will be happy that he did not die in vain. Thank you very much.
Okay, is Meji still there?
Busy?
Yes.
Okay. Well, this is what I would say. I will say that what I will remember him for, what I remember him for that was that he never looked down on anybody. And he would always fight for, just like the story that I narrated, he would always fight for you. And he dealt with all classes of people. I think his life is a lesson to everybody that children do grow up. You can look back to my time when I was in secondary school and meeting him in Akure. So he was a good person. And he spent his life well. Hate him or love him, he was a good person.
And finally, Maiwa Adebowale, what would be your parting shot before we go?
I want to thank everyone for the good comments about him. I want to also thank his friends, his children, because he has biological and ideological children. I want to say my thanks to everyone. God bless you.
All right, as the program winds down, first I'd like to say thank you very much to everyone who has made our time to be part of this session. Mr. Rotimi Ogunleye Thank you very much for coming.
It is my prayer.
Professor Tunde Daniel, thank you for coming as well. Professor Adebowale, we appreciate your presence. Dr. Fonshadari and the other gentlemen. Major Daniels, thank you for coming as well.
Thank you so much.
Yes, well, death is inevitable, no matter how much legacies one has. Death must definitely cap the whole thing. Mr. Adebowale will be buried tomorrow, and we do pray that God rests his soul. Adaba FM will surely miss him. Public Square will miss him, definitely. And I'm sure the round table will miss him as well. May God rest his soul.
Amen.
It's not meant to be Adaba, 88.9.